are
Yes.
live.
Onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia.
Get fucked.
All right. Welcome back to the stained glass lands in which the party in their journey has settled down for the night in the city of Vale, a former smuggling outpost in a convenient space located between Tirisaz and the Inari dynasty, and now a location of temporary reprieve for the joint armies of the Third Anubian Inquisition, the Hell Knight forces, and a smaller group of pseudo mercenaries known as the Sacrosanct Exorcists. What the party's doing here, they took the southern route throughout the distance between Ilisker and Estelheim, their final destination, where Lady Eleanor of the Watches of the New Dawn has promised some answers to questions they may have about the stars descending one night in the Twin Blade cities and uniting all six of you together. You passed northwards through parts of New Kylax, and you passed underneath a mountain pass in which you found Hell Knights, you found a Death Kiss, and you find Adelgoths, the minions of a creature known as a Beholder, former Vulcanals who looked to the stars and found arcane eldritch secrets they shouldn't have and began sprouting eyes as punishment for their unwise inquisitiveness all over their body, these parasitic-like things that they implant in others and gain full control over. The party figured out from the Hell Knight Lucas, and potential ally here, another Hell Knight under the tutelage of Yearning of the Gallows, that there's a possibility Lorenz might be his brother, and if so, that the beholder in Algiz, named Lady Ilara, was his mother. With that in mind, the party continued onwards in the city of Vale, spoke with the sort of council meeting outside. You saw the location in the in the city of Vale, where the Anubians had completely taken over the functioning of the town. Quite oppressive, yes, but necessary, warding off the spread of the curse that originated from Tirisaz. The evening falls, and you can see preparations being made for the upcoming assault on the city of Algiz. The three distinct factions prepare in their own way. You can see many Anubians meditating. Many have golden light and some sort of aura shrouding around them. You can see exorcists and the Hell Knights all sharpening their weapons, preparing their bags, getting ready to rest for the night. The two things that might interest you that you see along your walk into the tavern where you met Kuel and where Reed cooked dinner for everyone was, one, the sound of chanting emerging from the Hell Knights. Arranged in circles, multiple figures, also dressed in spiky clothing, dark black, steel, but more robe-like instead of armor. Circles of salt and other kinds of alchemical substances, powders, the scent of brimstone wafting through the air as flashing cascades of light peel open to drag creatures from some unknown abyss. There are precisely two types of creatures that you see being summoned and fighting against these summoning circles like they are imprisoned before one of these signifers, spellcasters of the Hell Knights, walk forward and begin speaking to them. You see half of them are large, 10 feet tall, bulky, gray fur, bulging muscles, vaguely minotaur-like in appearance, but lacking any eyes. You can see that the face is sort of folded with flesh. There is no distinct feature to it. Instead of horns, two additional arms sprout above their heads, in which massive is carried a massive falchion, a large weapon, almost 10, 11, 12 feet, that they simply carry with them like a cane, a walking staff on the ground. The other two arms of these minotaur-like creatures carry large, large shields. The other half are vaguely emerge from the ground, somewhat similar to trees. You can see planks of wood sprouting from the ground, crucifixes on which are nailed these thin goat-like creatures. Most of them are rotting in a state of decay, bleating pathetically. But that procession continues on. On the other hand, the exorcists seem to be fashioning these. The best I can describe them are wooden missiles of some kind. They are about 5 feet in height total, pointed slowly on one end. You can see several of them pouring what appears to be something like black powder inside of a mechanical payload near the north of them. They have these wing-like contraptions strapped to their sides. I think Fenton, you're the only one who might know. Go ahead and give me a history check.
12.
You know these to be missiles, pretty much. The Arakocra use their flight to good capabilities. One of the highest ranking members in the militaries of the Arakocra are individuals known as griffins. They are artificers of a certain kind, usually very, very strong, who craft these kind of things. From the back lines of combat, 4 or 5 of them will gather around this object, raise it high vertically in the sky, and let it drop. The wings are crafted to splay out at a certain altitude and level off in flight, usually done to break down barriers, blast through walls, eliminate large swaths of troops. But you, for the night, are currently inside the, yes, a glider bomb, pretty much. Let's see. I'm blanking on the name of the tavern that you're in, but you've been given rooms by Arak Maher, the current High Inquisitor of the Anubians, for the information Reed gave. And we'll resume after Kuel leaves the tavern. We have a few things to go over, but I'll wait until later. Evening is arriving, and you know that Gallows will be arriving soon to have a conversation upon the invitation of Reed. But were there any conversation? Harcourt's shack, yes. Harcourt's shack. Go ahead. Would you like any conversation amongst yourselves to have any as the night continues beforehand?
Well, that depends on if we saw what Leora was getting up to.
Say she
Uh,
wouldn't do it in public, presumably, but
I'll say a quick note. Maybe a few minutes after Kuel's departure, Foshkra had remained sitting at the table that the two had been speaking at. And he doesn't say anything to the party. So after a few minutes, he gets up and he leaves the tavern as well, finding as quiet a spot as he can outside.
you can go ahead and sit outside in the quiet, warm dawn. It's quite a bit in the air, this part, but it's pleasant to you.
I'll say if anybody finds him, he's just standing there looking off towards the east. And he probably accidentally left his book on the table. Though, with the rest of the group, I don't think he took it over with QL. But yeah. Off to everybody else.
So still at this table then is Lorenz, Chain, Leora, and myself?
Yes.
Perhaps we should find our lodgings for the night. Take advantage of actually having a room with hopefully beds.
Yeah, for the first time in a while.
It's been far too long. Once we're settled in, though, I do think we need to talk tonight. We need to figure out what's next. We've been just kind of wandering as a group, even with a destination in mind. I think we would benefit from some common ground, common understanding of what lies ahead of us.
I mean, I suppose it makes sense to I really don't like the feeling that I'm getting here.
Why is that? What specifically?
I don't really know. Something about it irks me.
Well, between Talani, the march tomorrow, the different factions all piled here at once. I don't blame you.
Not to mention Lucas. Have you seen him?
Not since we entered town, admittedly. I've been a little preoccupied. As have we all, I suppose.
No, it's understandable. I don't know if I have anything to say to him, but I thought I would have seen him around. Maybe.
Well, if we are talking to Gallows a little later tonight, perhaps you can use the opportunity to field some questions to him regarding Lucas.
I might just do that.
Leora, Chain, are you in agreement? For the night, at least?
Changes, like, nods his head.
Yes. Yeah, I think it would be a good idea.
Good. Well, I will speak to the innkeeper, at least try to figure out where exactly it is that Eric Mahar intends to put us up, and we will go from there.
Alright. Sounds like a deal.
And I will stand and do that. Try to figure out where it was that we are to have room for the evening.
The Harcourt, the owner, has been given some instructions, and you can see him direct you upwards and says, "You got a room. They're pretty big, but look, I'm busy. Have been for a while, so have to pack in."
Understood. Appreciate the
Only for one
hospitality.
night. I don't have a choice. Think the Nubians will let me go?
Are you marching tomorrow?
Yeah, they are. I'm not. I'm staying here.
Then there is your freedom.
Hmm. Paid for it.
Uh, hopefully the damages in your kitchen are not too severe.
No, the Nubians are quite respectful, at least.
There's another crash now yelling about Tulasi!
Oh, you mean the knoll?
I mean the knoll.
I guess I'll have more to clean tomorrow then. Is he going to march? Is he going to leave?
Yes, we will be taking him with us. Don't
That is
worry.
the best news I have heard all night.
Well, my friends, I will let you return to it. Again, I appreciate it.
Hopefully it's under better circumstances. With no more Nubians around. Right. Where are you headed? What are you doing right now? It's close to evening. Not quite, but the sun is setting.
I'm not intending to go to bed by any means, but as indicated, I would like to try to wrangle the party in there. At least find the room and settle some of my own stuff in there, and eventually try to gather Reed and Foshkra and whoever else has wandered to do something else at some point.
Lorenz will probably follow suit without much coercion. He's kind of like ready to not fully settle down, but set his things, in the room and just kind of get a feel for the space.
It's a good room. It's large, but very much has been stripped into what appears to be a barrack-like arrangement. There are very hastily constructed wooden barracks that replace beds. This seems to have been done to all of the rooms. The Anubians have converted this into a makeshift location for housing for its soldiers. But you were given a room with 8 beds, even though there are only 6 of you.
No fighting over
Luxury.
top bunk. When you go to retrieve Reed, done cooking, his bags are stuffed with spare ingredients from the kitchen. And you find him not cooking anything, but rearranging the mess that he has made into new shapes. And doing so as noisily as possible.
The clutter and clatter is very obvious. And outside of the room, the owner will not be happy about that, but what can he do about it?
Complain to Arak Mahar.
Correct.
Yes.
Oh, Reed, I see you have rearranged.
Isn't it beautiful? I made a little throne here. I wanted to be seen sitting on it whenever they arrive.
Who in particular?
Never mind.
Very well. It is a fine throne.
Yes.
Whenever you are done with your duties here, however much you intend to do beyond this, we do have a room now, if you wish to join us.
I'll stop and kind of stare at Fenton for a minute. Ah, I see. Yes. Yes. I'll smack a couple things around with a spatula and toss the spatula behind me and walk out, admiring the knives in the wall.
Clean and untouched.
Of course. I only need one knife.
Fair enough.
We love cross-contamination.
All right, just to confirm where everyone is, are the party in the room? I believe Fosh outside.
Yes.
Laura, what are you doing?
For a little bit of clarification, so no one is confused, we're gonna redo it a little bit so that we know exactly where I'm at and not just floating in the ether for this. But I would find a bed that no one else has claimed, let everyone take their pick, because a bed is a bed and they deserve to, have the first pick. I don't mind. But I would sit down on the edge of it with the staff in my lap, just recounting everything that we have been through in the last 2-ish weeks, from falling into the astral plane, finding a shard, meeting these people, the vision that was shared with me, and all the way to our meeting with Koss. And I would just kind of question all of it, try to fit the pieces together, even though there's still a lot that's missing. Lay the staff in my lap and just think to myself, surely there has to be something more. Surely she would not have sent me off for nothing, with nothing. She had to have done something. And I would hold my necklace and I would take the necklace off and set it aside, and the glamour would shimmer and fade away as I transition into the choir folk visage in the privacy of the room. And my fingers would just kind of glide down the staff until they circled around the stone at the bottom of it. And
Oh, good.
incredulously, I would just think to myself, surely not, right? Surely she would have said something, right?
After a few minutes of pondering and extending your consciousness outward, you can hear kind of like waves rippling against an interruption in the water, some presence. And as you reach your mind to connect to it, you can see the amethyst-like small crystal wiggle in its constraints and kind of wrench free, begin to circle idly around your head. In this faint attunement in the sort of empty socket inside your staff, you can hear a voice contact your mind, weak, quiet. Oh, who is this?
My eyes would widen, and I would try my best to follow the path of the stone as it floated around my head swiveling around, trying to keep up with it, as my heart would race, and I would just be too shocked to respond right off the bat.
Hello, can you You hear me?
Yes, yes, hi.
Who is this?
My name is Leora. Who is this?
Archseeker Eliana. Forgive me, for I am weak, very weak. And I used to be strong. Why? How? How did this come to be?
How did what come to be?
The fact that I am speaking with you.
Well, I was gifted this staff from another Archseeker, Zia.
I sensed the familiarity of Bratikin when I was held in Vermont, but you I do not recognize. What is your name?
Leora.
Leora. How did you come into possession of my stone, my tear?
It was gifted to me. It was helping keep me safe.
By Gia.
Yes.
Then she must have read it in the stars. I am tired. I cannot speak for long. But I want you to know there is a great deal of change awash with the regrets of the past, crystallized in these stones, and like bugs struggling through amber, I was caught in them. We will speak more at a later time, Leora. Do take care.
Yes, thank you.
You can see the presence fade and stone shakes in the air before dropping down to the bed.
I would immediately pick it up and cradle it in both hands and very quickly look around to see who was closest to me so I could
I think
discuss.
everybody beyond Fashka is somewhere in this room.
Well,
Staring.
I do believe Lorenz is still in the room.
Shane is still in the room.
Yeah.
She would look around to everybody and just with disbelief on her face say, I found a shard. It was in my staff. I can't believe I didn't think about it until now, but we have another shard.
What?
We have another.
How did you discover it, Leora?
I was just thinking that surely there had to be something whenever I was told to go and to after I saw a vision, and I don't know, I just felt for it, and I heard her. This Eliana.
Eliana is in the one from that poem, Fenton?
Presumably. Yes, the Archseeker? Oh, yes. We need to. What did she say?
She told us, or well, she told me that she was weak, but that there was a great deal of change and regret of the past crystallized in the tears. She said that we would speak more later, but she's very weak, so I don't know that we should reach out to her the way that we did with Filderavin.
Was she? How did she? Was she kind? Weak? I would have expected another response like Vilderavin's, one very bombacious.
She seems kind. I don't think that she has any ill will or anything like that.
Well, she sounds like more of a straight talker than Vilderavin.
I still don't understand why I didn't get into contact with Vilderaven.
Perhaps we need to have you try this, speaking to this shard as well at some point soon.
Perhaps later. I fear of overdoing it.
Yes. Two shards in this room. Oh, we do need to talk. Yes, more than ever. We should collect Foshkra and put our heads together.
Yes, I very much agree. I should also probably find a different stone to put in the staff. I don't think keeping the shard there would be safe.
Does the staff work otherwise? Do you have an option?
Dear DM, would that be an option?
You can always slot it back if you want.
Would it be secure?
Yeah.
Wait, weren't you gifted? You said you got that staff from the Archseeker from the Inari, right?
Yes.
The necklace is the one with the glamour. The staff just contains the stealth. There's no other magic to it.
Well, if the Archseeker of the Inari gave you a staff with a shard in it, I think it's safe to say that Uthrin's threat of telling the Inari is not well founded.
The staff very much would have significance in swaying the opinions of Vulpinals you meet, whether they be in favor of the dynasty or otherwise. It's very much a symbol of authority that you have it. They'd like you'll help you out if they know and they see it.
Come to think of it, didn't Uthrin also threaten to sell us out to the Cabal?
That is a tremendous point, Shane. Those threats perhaps were entirely empty. Well, maybe not to Utherin's knowledge, but that is a layer of comfort for sure.
Perhaps they have no idea what they're talking about.
I very much doubt they do. So the Cyclic Order and Shrevasi's Yonti perhaps are our true enemies here, but other worries are less extreme for the time being. Cyclic Order's already proven that they won't kill us outright, at least not until the timing is right for them to try so.
I think we still have to watch out for the Lyceum Draconis too.
Why do you say that?
Well, it was one of the ones that Uthrin threatened us with, and I would Chain would kind of like he'd mimic that line from Uthrin with I think it was just the three organizations that she threatened to spill information about us having the shard to. And I'm pretty sure it was just the Inari, the Cabal, and the Lyceum Draconis were the three that she mentioned.
Yes, perhaps you are onto something there. I am still very curious. Cass never gave me a straight answer as to what the Cabal was doing with, at, to Lyceum Draconis and the Twin Blades. It's unclear.
I don't know, but it's safe to say that the Cabal has been doing something in the Twin Blades for a while.
Clearly, yes. Well, then we get Foshkra and we discuss. Reed, did Gallows mention when he would seek us out?
When unimportant, this important.
Yes. Very good. Then we shall fetch Foshkra and we shall continue. Fenton will stand to do so if no one else does.
Yeah, Lorenz is just gonna be sitting on his little bed he chose and have a different set of cards pulled out from his satchel.
Theora will fix the stone back into her staff and stand to go get Foshkra with Fenton.
I'll give
Oh, sure.
Aurora
Go
a
ahead.
side eye as she leaves. You can go ahead. I'll have my discussion later.
Foshkra, what are you up to outside? What are you doing?
Not much. Literally just standing, staring off to the east, thinking on his conversation with Kuel.
I can see
Just-
that. Oh, good.
I was just gonna add, just taking time to be alone.
Unlike many of your other experiences in town, majority of individuals who pass by your way are Nubians, and they give you a very curt nod of respect and continue along their way. You know that the Nubians have their main temple in the sands, and in some ways agree with the lizard folk on a few different things. But they continue moving along. Don't bother you. Assuming you to be some mercenary or some person to help in the fight.
Okay.
Is that all?
Yeah, like I said, he's not really doing anything. He's just thinking.
Alright. Which one of you is fetching him?
I believe Leora and myself.
Fetch the
Yeah.
lizard.
Is he hard to find?
No, I mean, he's like I said, he's maybe a bit of a distance away from the tavern, just to be away from the noise from inside. But not too far away in case he is needed. But again, just found a spot where he could look clearly out to the east and just stand and think.
Foshkra?
It's a quiet moment before he turns and looks at you.
Might you join us? We have a room and some things to discuss.
About the fight for tomorrow, I imagine.
We should probably talk on that too, but my sights were set a little further down the road.
I believe that is where many of our thoughts stray then. Good. And he
Very well.
pauses. And lift the book on the table.
It is in the room. We collected it.
Thank you.
Are you alright, Voshka?
I have much to think on.
Seems that talking to Kuel has that effect, no?
It was what led me here, I believe. Yes, you are correct. I do not know how much more thinking I can do tonight.
That is alright. I only ask for your presence. Though, of course, in regards to whatever it is you think on now, do be aware that should you ever wish to discuss or contemplate, or even just talk, you have allies who are willing to listen.
At that, Foshgra pointedly looks over at Leora.
And she would smile and like wave at him.
Perhaps someday, Fenton. But you are not wrong. And he
In your
will.
own time, then.
At that, he'll start walking.
And back we go.
And back we go. Gathering in this small room. What would you like to talk about?
Fenton tries to get everyone to kind of circle up. I assume everyone's just doing their own thing on their own bed. He has an excited energy to him this evening.
Show me your best side.
My best side, Yes, intellectually, or... Fenton kind of tilts his head from one way to the other. Is there a preference?
Never mind.
Listen, we have answers. Finally, we have some progress, some answers, and well, we should have had a conversation really about what we know weeks ago, and I hope you can forgive me for being too self-absorbed to realize it at the time. But now we need to put our heads together because this is not a puzzle I can solve on my own. I think we need each other here. The shards of Irika. We should start there. We have 2 now.
A
We know of more.
third in Estelheim.
Yes, and a 4th in the sands, presumably. So, what is our goal pertaining to them?
These are parts of a whole. The Watchers of a New Dawn believe they can create a new age with them. One, they say, with a different divinity.
Have you interacted with the Watchers before then, Reed? Where did you come to learn of these things?
They freed me from Terzaz. I gifted them one of the tears. I knew I could not live with it, but I could survive without it. And in return, they tried to see me out of the city. It killed me, but I saw a new dawn in my life. I do not know them. I do not trust them, but they hate what I hate.
So the Watchers then will not give this shard back to you willingly. It was not a matter of safekeeping for a time.
They might.
Hey, Fel.
Yes.
How much would Chain know about the Watchers? I know that back in session 1 that Reverend Hatchet had talked to Chain about them capturing Watchers and then torturing them for information. Would he have heard or known any information about them before that, or that would have been like his first and kind of only?
Give me a history check. He wouldn't have interacted with them directly, but he might know a bit about. Nope.
I don't know shit.
Oh.
Rip.
I mean, as far as our plans are concerned, I think I agree with Reed's vision in the sense that perhaps we should put them together. But before we do, of course, we should continue on our path to Estelheim to get answers or more questions.
Yes. More
And that
questions.
does lead me to my next question.
Lorenz rolls his eyes.
What is it that we are hoping to learn exactly in Estelheim?
We're hoping to learn where any more shards are, their numbers, their locations.
Are you aware of how many there are altogether, Reed?
No. We
A
know
red
of
cowl.
4.
Yes. Yes, a red cowl once told me there were 6, but that was prior to Vilderaven, so I've been assuming there's 7, but there could be more, there could be less. I'm not sure. Maybe some are completely lost, I'm not sure.
Six. Kind of look around the room.
No, please don't.
I won't say I haven't had the same inclination.
Is
But read
this not a fine story?
Yeah. It is shaping up to be. I think there is more we can learn, though. Reed, the shard you had possessed previously, did you ever speak to it? Did you get a chance to get a name out of it, as we have these others?
I felt it, but it was shy. It did not want to speak to me. Or perhaps it was too weak to.
With the proper histories, I suspect that we will be able to generate some names associated with these shards before we know and meet them personally. But we go back to the Twin Blades, and a shard falls on our heads. For the first time, I believe, in hundreds of years, a shard fell, and I don't think we can deny that it fell directly onto the six of us. Yes, it pulled us into the astral plane. No one else.
Those marked by the curse of tears. You have no idea what it is you have done.
And therein lies the question of what have we done? Because I don't know about the rest of you, but I haven't done anything with my life. So.
Are you certain? In that place we were put in, we all had strings, like the web of a spider, all but one.
Why don't you tell me? Because I certainly don't have the answers to that.
Answers are found in the journey.
Of course they are.
But we can get closer now based solely on what we've learned so far. And I have thought of those strings a great deal. And I do suspect that it all comes back to connection. You see, the first shard in the Twin Blades connected to Vilderaven. And as Chain noted, the poem we found from Vilderaven suggests that he both knew and murdered Eliana. So now with Leora's discovery, we have two shards associated with two individuals who were connected. Right? They knew each other in life. And the other shard that I know of, the one that is in the Shimmering Sands, the one that once belonged to Lord Senai, it is referred to as Eyanga's tear. See, and if I am not mistaken, Aido Eyanga was yet another who lived at the same historical time in the same circles as both Vilderaven and Eliana. So far these three knew each other.
What color would my tear be?
A tear of reeds, or the one you possessed previously?
Mine. If
Could not say.
If I die, truly die, would I not leave a tear as these have? Have these tears not been traveling together, dreaming of changing the world?
And there's a key piece that we are missing thus far, though. The mechanisms behind the creation of these tears is, well, it is confusing to me as I think on it. Eliana was the one, I believe, who, well, between her and Ayanga, began Star Scourge, meaning they were searching for tears already, and now they are associated with them? The timeline doesn't quite make sense in my own head.
What is it you said to us, Leora? These tears are a power of change and regret.
Like a bug caught in amber, Eliana got caught in one of the stones. It is a great deal of change, awash with regret.
Change and regret. Too volatile for my tastes.
Oh, so now there's such a thing as too much change. Okay.
A change is a thought, is a process. But I'm willing to experiment. This Eliana, she speaks of being weak, but she leads a great war in her life. This Vildaravin, he speaks of betrayal and the joy in it, yet finds romance in life.
What is it you are touching upon here, Reed?
I believe this one's regret is weakness. He points to Lyra's staff. And its change will be strength.
Do you suppose these shards existed before these individuals? Maybe these individuals are simply the current ones connected to it. You seem to be suspecting that we could replace them or create a new one in our own death, Reed.
Is that what the Curse of Tyr means?
Perhaps it is. To be marked as 5 of us were. Perhaps there's a 6th out there somewhere whom in their death would find themselves trapped like a bug in amber.
And we are the bugs, and these stones the ember upon which will trap us.
If we do not bring about this new age.
I don't know whether to consider myself lucky or not.
I do wonder as well if there is a particular connection to a particular shard in any of our cases.
Three of you have connected to the one we have carried so far. What connection outside of speaking to the one inside has there been? Lawrence had the most connection, as he spoke to a different one.
Exactly. In any case, it's undeniable that the shards are connected, and whether we desire to be or not, we are connected now to the shards. If you recall, on the day we met, I pondered if each of us had perhaps encountered a shard in some way previously. Perhaps this was the source of this curse of tears. And I had dismissed the idea, but truthfully, I can no longer do so. I had followed a youngest tier, been very close to it. Reed and Foshkra took another in Turisaz. Leora apparently had one handed to her by Archseeker Zia. Lorenz, Ido a youngest tier was buried out in the sands by a red cowl. And it was a warrior, if you recall, from the Ido line who pulled you and the rest of us into the astral plane most recently. I could be wrong, but I highly suspect that you encountered a youngest tier in some capacity while you were in the sands. That first time you fell into the astral plane.
I suppose it may be possible. I do not know if it is
Fell
related.
into
but-
a tear.
Yes, very funny. Keep laughing. I don't know if this is related. After my first trip to the astral, I had wandered the desert. I had no water, I had no food. And as I thought about allowing my body to become one with the land, I had seen a red cow. They offered me water. I remember briefly speaking to them about fate. Initially, I dismissed it. I went on. I left them behind. But that was as far as that went.
The red cows do seem to have some prophetic ability. Certainly different than the Vopanals, but the connection may be there.
It's beautiful.
And look, we know that the shards have different personalities now, too. Eliana, as Leora has said, did not act like Wilderaven, and recalling stories of a youngest here that I followed, the shard seemed aggressive, I suppose, not quite like Wilderaven, but it seemed that a youngest here was searching for something or someone specific, and that Ido warrior that we encountered in the astral, Lorenz, it seemed to suggest that you were not that someone that was seemingly unhappy with you. It may be too far of a stretch, but I do wonder if we have a third shard somehow in our possession already.
Well, I certainly don't have it. I can show you everything that I own, which is very little already. I have cards and more cards. Water skin, rope, dagger. Yeah, no shard.
In any case, it is something to ponder. Of course, the trips to the astral plane could have something to do with the potential beholder in your bloodline, but that does seem less likely to me.
My bloodline is a big if. On one hand, I want to dismiss Lucas as being perhaps mistaken me for someone else, some other individual, but the few times we talked, I am becoming more convinced that perhaps I do have a family that I've never considered or encountered before. And if so, I know nothing about them.
Is that a positive possibility in your mind, or something to dread?
I really don't know. Almost my entire life, I've dreamed of having a family, of being cared for by my actual mother, having a father. I grew up without that, and to suddenly realize that I could have had that. I don't know what to do with myself, to be quite honest.
That is perfectly understandable. But we may have answers as soon as tomorrow. Shane, I believe that leaves you.
I can say that I've never knowingly come across a shard.
Perhaps Vildoraven's tear spell fell specifically for you as a native to the Twin Blades? Vildoraven is a Kenku after all. I don't mean to stretch a theory too far, but there may be connection there.
I don't feel much connection with him. I've already tried and didn't get much in terms of any sort of useful information.
And so there are still many unknowns. And we continue to Estelheim. Many of you heard it. Quell made a revelation to me just below. He sought me out intentionally at first because of a vision or a prophecy or something that lives underneath this Al-Mazarim. The keepers call it the Great Mysteries, and it is one little piece of knowledge that law singers do not share the details of. I can't see them myself until I am promoted to law singer, but Quell told me that he saw me there. Before he knew me, somehow he saw all 6 of us. So qualifications aside, something beyond our comprehension has drawn us together. The mysteries have been there, at least since Mazarim's time, 70 years.
That is a long time.
Reed, you've spoken of prophecies as well. This foreknowledge that you would be joined to a group of allies for some greater purpose. These things align. Can you share what and when and by whom these things were made known to you?
A hunch.
A hunch of your own devices.
Yes. When you push your will onto other parts of existence, as I do, you learn to see outside your eyes, to think outside your mind, and you begin to see patterns.
I see. Unfortunately, all this talking has me curious. If no one has any objections, would like to try and see if I can attune to the other shard. See what comes of it.
I do not object.
I have no objections. Just know that if you do speak with Eliana, she's very weak, so it may be best to keep it brief.
I will keep it very brief.
I would hold out the stone to Lorenz.
And Lorenz will gently take it and hold it in both of his hands.
It takes another minute to extend your consciousness outwards toward the stone in your hands, but you eventually hear the soft grace of a female voice. Yes? Again?
Hello, I'm sorry. Is this Eliana?
I am Eliana, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry for disturbing you. I'll keep this brief.
Don't apologize. There's no need.
My name is Lorenz. I had attuned to a shard before, and a unknown deity, Muse, had spoken to me. I had attuned to this shard in the attempt to repeat the experiment, so to say.
Do you know the name of the occupant of that shard?
The occupant of that shard is Vilderaven.
I can sort of feel it, like when we stick your hand in snow, coldness briefly numbs around your fingers, and you hear a sort of sharp exhale. Muse interrupted you from speaking with Vilderaven,
Yes,
and perhaps she believed you needed comfort and not his words.
I see. Thank
Do
you.
not believe that man. Nothing he says is true. He lies. He betrays. That is what he is. That is all he does.
I will relay this to the others. Thank you. Rest well.
There's no response, but you can hear some measure of gratitude as it falls back into your palms.
I believe that after speaking with her, my brief contact with Muse was not perhaps because of me, but because of what I was going through at the time.
What do you mean?
Perhaps I still am in a state of emotional turmoil. My life has been nothing but a bad series of circumstances. And in my pain, Eliana suggested that Muse knew that I needed comfort in that time. And thus, when I attempted to attune with the shard, presumably she interrupted Vilderaven. That is my understanding, at least.
Fascinating.
Attention from a god.
Well, if you want attention from a god, Reed, perhaps you should cry your heart out. And he hands the shard back to Leora.
Do you pray, Fox?
I used to. Not anymore.
I will finish ritually casting Skywrite out the window and kind of create a six-fold pattern in the sky, miles and miles away.
Okay. What are you writing?
Again, illiterate. I don't know words. I
Caveman drawings in the sky.
am creating caveman drawings in the sky and just forming the moisture in the air into kind of a six-fold pattern. Sometimes it looks like spokes of a star, and sometimes it looks like petals on a flower.
Shimmering arrangement appears miles overhead. You could see a few people from the window turn their eyes up, wondering, but they are focused inwards. There are people who do watch for a time, wondering, curious.
How soon until the rest of the world knows about us?
I suspect at this point it will happen in time. But hopefully later. Not now.
Is there anything else that you wanted to discuss, Fenton?
I suppose that's it. I wanted to get on the same page about the shards. These, however many there are,
What is
associated. Yes.
Draven's regret?
Eliana was very, very sharp in her stance that we should trust Vildaravan under no circumstances. That all that man does is lie and betray.
Do you think that shard, I'll point to Chain, is betrayal?
I don't know if it is betrayal, but I believe that the man, the entity within it, is not to be trusted. I have no reason to doubt Eliana's words. The shard turned cold in my hands. It's as if she feared him.
Well, I mean, he's the man that killed her, supposedly, so.
And it lines up. Even more
And
reason to
it's-
believe her words.
I mean, we knew from the beginning not to trust him from what Reed told us he experienced from those visions, memories, whatever
Yes.
Volderavan gave him.
And even in the court of kings, all he said was to bring about their downfall.
I mean, if these shards are about regrets, then that his regret could be because didn't that poem, Fenton, didn't it also say that he was wedded to Eliana?
Yes. Seemed like Vildaravan was quite proud of his murder of his bride.
So that could be his regret. Regrets
Or
killing his wife.
Or perhaps his regret was not betraying more people.
That seems more likely.
Then,
In Estelheim, I fully intend to research this character more. I do not know much of Vildaravan. It's not a name I have heard too frequently, like Eliana and Aido Eanga, but it is a historical figure. I'm sure there is more to learn in historical documents.
I want to make known to all of you the importance of stopping, closing your eyes, and visualizing what kind of a tear you would create if you died this day.
Oh, what happy thoughts.
I
What do you mean?
have.
Go, Frostgrove, go.
I had one thought. If this Viltaraven and Eliana had a relationship, and one speaks of the other, what if we brought word of Eliana to Viltaraven? Would we get more out of him?
I mean, I can try if you all think it's worth it.
I don't know. Vilderaven suggested that he was not in the stone, but that he is elsewhere. If we don't know where him and Eliana both are, I would be hesitant to pit him against her until we have more answers.
Perhaps this is part of Viltaraven. This is part of Eliana. Perhaps some good of them has made it past this sky, and some bad of them has come back to us to teach us.
In either case, I think that is enough shard attunement for today. Eliana appears to be very exhausted.
Dying is exhausting.
You would know more than us.
Reed, would you be opposed to taking a look into my dagger this evening?
What is it you hope to find?
I don't expect to learn anything that changes anything, but I'm curious about you. I can't quite place what angle you approach the world at.
Beware a category that hides the truth. But I will sate your curiosity.
Much appreciated. And I'll pull out the dagger and kind of angle its reflection so Reed can look into his own reflection on the blade.
All right. There is a, like, something looking at you quizzically. Sensation that comes across your mind, Reed. Do you resist it at all?
Of course not.
Let me take a look. Just checking a couple things, so nothing is incorrect. There is a strange prismatic sheen that circles the gem embedded in your dagger, Fenton.
Fenton smiles just a bit. That explains actually quite a lot. I know we were not locked into categories, Reed, but thank you in any case.
Wave him off. Your dagger is dirty.
So it is. Kind of look at the dying little plant growing still on its edges.
Good music choice, Phil.
There is a knock on the door. 3 raps, equally spaced, quite strong.
I would quickly put my necklace back on and allow the glamour to take place again.
If there's no objections, Foshka would be the one to open the door.
I'm
First
not
seeing who it
even.
is before fully opening it.
I'm not even looking.
There is the door opens and you can see the sort of grey-furred tabaxi you met down in the caves. Paralector Gallows. You can see his back is straight, his hands are militantly set behind his back. There's a curt nod.
A call
Sorry.
out from the other side of the room. You are late. The water has boiled away. No doubt the kitchen is on fire.
I do apologize, but I have my preparations to make.
Ignore Reed. He is in a state today.
And then Foshka would open the door all the way and move out of the way for Gallus to come back in. Or to come in fully.
Am I interrupting anything?
The conversation.
Yeah, we had just about wrapped it up.
Right. If you'd like
Foshka
to
closes the door behind him.
Jump
you
him!
see him step in and smile. Well, he doesn't smile, but sigh and sets his shoulders. Right. Now, if you are set on tea, I'm happy to make some. But I'm more curious about you. Tea is an invitation to a conversation. No, do you wish to converse with me?
We will go downstairs. Curious about you, your group, your world.
Of course. He turns and opens the door and...
Excuse me.
Yes.
Sorry, what happened to Lucas?
He received 20 lashings for abandoning his post. He will be fine in the morning.
Okay.
And Gallows continues onwards.
Reed, do you wish to speak to this man alone?
You may come if you wish. It is not mine to decide your questions.
I will come then.
And Lorenz will follow.
We'll come downstairs. I will throw out the absolutely scalding, glowing hot teapot and set a new one.
Doesn't take too long to heat up, consequence, but tea is made. What kind are you making?
So, I will put into the little infuser tea leaves, ground ginger, some tulasi, and at the end I will mix in a little bit of honey too.
Which is very good, artistically made. And those of you who wish to converse with Reed and Gallows can join them in a booth that Gallows sits in. You can see he's not the tallest man, but he crosses his legs and still remains somewhat straight. His back seems to be a permanent rod. He does not slouch whatsoever.
I'll slouch for the both of us.
His elegant mannerisms are very precise, very controlled, and he says, "Right. Speak."
Hell Knight is an infamous name. But I hear very little from my imprisonment in Turisaz. Why do you put your swords here to fight this corruption?
Because it is the right thing to do. The Hell Knights are not necessarily warriors who seek evil. We strike down chaos. There is much chaos that has been spawned in Turisaz. It is our responsibility to clean them up.
Do you believe Turisaz to be a city without order?
At its iteration at the moment, yes. There is some order, if you mean the literal word. Order by power, by chaos. But that is not civilization. That is not something that should exist.
And you believe the nature of the Knoll to have no order?
Yes. But we do not mean to kill all gnolls. For every Hell Knight, there is an agent on another side operating for the forces of chaos. We simply play a necessary part in the roles. In this ecosystem of a location we live in.
You think you are balancing something. You sound like you would have many great fights against the cyclic order.
Yes.
So you...
Those in the cyclic order consider philosophy to be something flexible. The Hell Knight must be rigid. We must be principled, disciplined. If one can change their faith on a swivel, they do not believe in it at all.
Then you recognize you are an extreme.
Yes.
And think you are necessary.
Yes.
And you know, too, that the other side is necessary.
If I had my way, then yes, I would cauterize and cut out all that is necessary. But I am a realist. I live in reality. What is necessary or not is irrelevant. I have already pledged my sword towards my cause. I believe it to be right and just. If it is determined on some cosmic scale that I have overstepped the boundaries of reason, then I place full trust in some agent of chaos to take me to my grave. But until then, I will fight for what I wish. For what I myself believe in. And that, no, is strict adherence to principles, beliefs, and laws.
Is chaos a principle?
It takes many shades. That begs the philosophical question to you, Noel, which I will reply to you with. If a man sets out with intentions of causing chaos, is it chaotic? He must have made a plan to incite it, yes. He must have dotted his T's and crossed his I's so that he can have the maximum chaotic effect. In this way, he has ensured the rigid order of his own chaos. Is it contradictory?
It is. That was what I thought when I saw you.
My personal opinion on this circumstance is that civility is defined by one's rigor. If one allows themselves to snap to abandon all concepts of what makes us sentient, they become chaotic.
So chaos is a beast, and law is silk sheets and high walls, bricks.
No, not necessarily. Could see him give a sigh and shift, take another sip. I was raised in the Shimmering Sands. I was once one of the keepers of Mazarim, as Fenton knows quite well. Fenton, are you present at this conversation?
I am, yes.
Yes. You
Okay,
detest
so
it.
he didn't kill one.
No. I formerly was one. I changed my mind after seeing the lawlessness of Dara, the sands itself. At one point, a thief broke into my house and killed my significant other. This was some 20 years ago. In my pursuit for justice, I was given the revelation that the punishment for that in Bajikdara was the severance of his hands. That was not enough for me. 2 years later, I found him in Kalak, in which the punishment for thievery is death. Under the pretense that I wished to make amends with him, I brought him to a temple of Kvara to regenerate them, and I gutted him outside that same temple. My question to you for that anecdote, have I broken a law? Have I broken any?
A law's only meaning is in your head. You cannot break a law unless you regret doing it.
Then my answer to you, Noel, is the adherence to the laws of your own mind an act of chaos or of law? If it is an act of chaos, you are simply following your emotions, your beliefs, your instantaneous gratifying feelings. If one takes the law interpretation, we all develop our own codes, don't we? My answer to my own question is that when one compromises on their own sense of beliefs, they have shifted themselves towards the more chaotic side of things. They lose sense of who they are, what they stand for. They become more chaotic. It is an internal reference.
Emotions will batter and bruise. Passions and hatreds and spite.
Whatever your motivations are, yes.
And all this dying of the land, all these lives ruined for one life in those towers and terraces.
an act of injustice as I see it. Whether it is the death of that one, the death of all those hundreds, depends on your interpretation, but it must end. That is why I am here.
Thank you. Where would Knowles be in your world? You say you do not wish to kill all Knowles, yet all of us suffer the urge of our grandfather.
One cannot fault a bear for prowling about and failing to understand the pleas of a hiker. You gnolls are simply part of the world. It is not within my jurisdiction to cut out a part of the world. I must simply contain it and control it. If all citizens in a lawful town have the capability to commit a crime, I do not kill all of the civilians just because of that possibility.
And I thought you had no imagination. Tell me how the tea is.
It is wonderful. I thank you for it.
Don't thank me.
No, I will. I have my own principles. Ironic, right?
Thank you for the tea. I think it's time for me to head up.
I said don't thank me. I'd throw my cup at Lore.
Lore is gonna try to just smack it out of the way before it hits him.
Give me a contested dexterity check. Both of
Okay.
your old dexterity checks.
6.
Where is it? Where is it? Here?
You got
Or
it.
you're able to catch it or snag it or knock it out of your way. Unless you see my issue with Knowles. Good night, Lorenz.
Good night. And Lorenz will leave to go upstairs.
Our issue with Knowles. Don't thank me. I still dream of the killing of the people I know best. Don't thank me. There
It
will
is your
be
burden to bear. I respect you for being able to contain it.
not forever. I change. One day I will no longer have to bear this burden. One day there will be no more Knoll.
Go ahead.
You may find it interesting to know Gallows. That's should you check that one's soul with your dagger, you will see a prismatic white.
So he has some measure of self-control despite his denial of it.
We fight against our natures.
I know you too much, and you and your kind to be under pretense you don't have any questions for me. So I will give you some peace of mind.
Mm. It is curious to me to find a tabaxi, such as yourself, working as you do with the Hell Knights. What is the law that you follow? You speak highly of it, going from Basigdara to Kalak to fulfill an ends legally.
Law is a manifestation of order. Laws are very specific things. They arise in many different phenotypes depending on the occupants of a town. But they are all out of a desire for there to be order, for there to be structure, discipline. It is the onus of the Hell Knights to uphold that principle, not necessarily laws.
So do you believe in a more perfect law than that of what cities and nations may have to offer?
No. What is perfect for one city is not perfect for another. It would be unwise of me to presume that one solution fits all. But I can easily identify areas and pockets of chaos. You've seen the slaves in Kalak, haven't you? Would you consider them to be just in their position of slavery? You've seen how easily laws change, depending on the trade lord, yes?
Of course, that is the reason for my line of questioning. Law is a created thing, not always created by one who is lawful.
And yet you would know that, based on the average attunement of the orb in the center of the Salkenis, Ajigdar itself is a chaotic neutral town.
So it is.
What does that make its laws?
A good premise. A measurable thing. Do you have strong faith, then, in the accuracy of the things you read, in the naive inclination?
I have not lost my internal reference. It may be different than yours, but it is still accurate.
I have a hard time coming to peace with the concept that there can be a single right answer. Mazarim's enchantment seems, well, some would call it skewed in one way. You reference your own internal barometer for such things. Of course, you would admit yourself it is skewed another way.
We are all flawed in our unique ways. What we do about them is what differentiates us. I do not fault you for striving the path of a keeper. In an ideal world, I would do the same. But my experiences have left a mark on me, a change. So I pursue my own path now.
In an ideal world, the path of a keeper would not be necessary.
I'm glad you are able to recognize the first principle of the keepers. The inaction I witnessed from them was intolerable.
Yes, I have seen the same. It's not universal. I hope you saw the other side of it as well. But I don't fault you for walking away. I am very much here to see the world grow. To help the world grow, not just to catalog it. I don't think I quite fully realized that until just recently, but the state of the keepers as a whole is a shame. The world doesn't need more scholars.
You have changed.
I believe it's been said that change is the only constant, isn't it? I can allow it. I can accept it.
I hope you understand my belief that this battle you are marching to I believe you will fail.
And what makes you think that?
A hunch.
I do not hunch. You do.
I do.
Yours.
Perhaps something unexpected, someone unexpected will make something unique happen. That might change the outcome. I hope you will keep your mind open to unexpected things in the coming days.
I understand you. Then I advise you to do your thing, Noel.
I am not interested in a long war.
Neither am I. Is that all you had for me?
I had many questions, too many to fit at one time, but you have told me the type of person you are. That was enough.
And I have my business to attend to, and you have yours. The tea was good. And without thanking you, he sets his drained cup down, stands, gives a half bow to the remaining individuals at the table, and struts from the tavern.
What a wonderful individual. How strange, how remarkably spiky.
Yes, I would agree. Spiky, indeed.
I hope my words make Lucas' plan possible.
We shall see in the morning, or shortly after.
All right.
There is, if there are hours available, one last thing that Reed would like to do.
Go for it.
His own little preparations going forward. I have errand to run in the wilderness outside Val. Would someone like to offer me their hands?
If you're asking the party, I believe Fenton's the last one down here at this point.
I will ask where everyone has an opportunity to answer. I'm not picky, though you might be.
If he came back up to the room to ask, I would offer to go with.
Very well. I will not keep you too long. Come.
Liara would pick up her staff and follow along.
Reed would lead you outside of Val, and there's like rivers and streams that occasionally come down from the mountain, trees and grass, and he would could actually look around, find certain trees in particular, scrape off the bark, and have you help him collect some vials of sap and plant fibers. And he would take you to the river, and you would see him walk into the river and walk out with an arm full of sludge and drop it, and like a kid collecting material to make a sand castle, Reed will bring clay up from the riverbed. Now
This count as a
here,
null bath.
Half of him is floating down the river.
just the bad half.
It'll regrow, don't worry.
Here, Reed will take out the souvenir he got from that strange red dragon in Ilisker. The spine that is both staff and whip, and he'll bring out the now quite rotted head of the what was it called? Flind. And a bunch of other materials and whatnot. And together with you, he would start crafting using the sap and twine and animal sinew and clay. You would harden it with fire and waterproof it, and probably learn a lot about foraging in the process.
I would follow suit, carefully following what you were doing, maybe making a face at what remains of the Flint head. But other than that, have no problem with doing what you need help with.
I don't need the flesh, only the bone. This is a trophy of something conquered. That I can resist biting you.
Why did you almost bite me that day?
It is the nature of a knoll. Some things, they make me mad.
What made you mad that day?
I think I had been away from where I belong. I belong here where there is dirt and life and water, not in a place of stone and porcelain. It was not natural. Too clean.
Is that why you kept the blindfold on?
Yes. I can still feel the clean, but it helps. What a blind little fox I am, trying to overcome my nature. Here, hold this, and the product of all this work. This is a new staff for Reed, made from the trophies and the spine, and it is a grotesque thing made of stories. It's very much something that you're supposed to be afraid of. That when you see Reed handing it to you, he looks a little less scary himself. Like the time has been good for him physically.
She would nod and pull out her hands, even if her facial expression was a bit wary.
Hold tight. And I'm going to cast Flaming Sphere. And I will bless this with fire and harden the clay. Melt the sap into the twine to fireproof it.
Would that hurt Leora?
It would be incredibly hot, but, well, yes, it would be incredibly hot.
Then, upon the cast, she would hold as tight as she could for just a moment before having to let go in order to not burn her hands. And then she would look over at Reed very apologetically.
Reed is still focusing, lavishing the staff with fire. And now that it's no longer being held, the fire is starting to spread through grass and brush.
She would take off her cloak, run to the water, dip it in, and try to put out the flame. The flame on the grass, not on the
Okay, good. I was worried for a second.
Just
Please,
a clarification.
do not set the bat on fire. After almost a minute, the flaming sphere will wink out of existence. Reed will relax and kneel down in this kind of charred circle and pick up his new staff.
Is it what you imagined it to be?
Reality follows imagination. Thank you for your help. I finally said it.
You're welcome. Was there anything else you needed out here?
No. Tell the others if they need to find me. I will be here.
I'll let them know. Be safe. And the Aura will head back to their room.
And that's where we will take a 5 break.
Yippee.
Love it.
Yay!
We'll come back at blank 14. And then the fun begins.
Oh, goody.
Oh no.
Quick, come up with more conversations.
Well, there is
I
one thing that
do-
I want to do before, like, we go through the whole long rest.
And I have one conversation that I would like to have with Fenton.
We love chatting.
We do.
Yes.
It's kind of a problem, but it's fine. We love that problem.
Yeah.
This is why
This
Curse of
campaign can
Strahd has
crawl
lasted so
along.
long.
No, crazily enough, that party doesn't talk to me, so.
No talk, only
Aw.
combat.
Poor Fenton. No conversations in his vampire roleplay.
Alright, I'm gonna go get some water. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like we're almost caught up, though, where the next couple sessions can be doing.
Yeah.
Until half the party has a mental breakdown.
Again.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Who says half the party isn't currently having a mental breakdown?
We're all having a mentee bee.
Fenton's finally feeling all right.
I'm sure Chain can find a way to fix that.
Oh my goodness. I love New Fenton.
All it took was a little encouragement from Kuel, apparently.
Well, an ass kicking followed by encouragement from Kuel.
Yeah. Those help too.
You need 20 cc's of Goel per day just to keep it up.
Please.
We need to kidnap the man so we can just keep him honest at all times.
I'm sure that the man would escape our grasp.
Nonsense. We have those anti-magic spikes.
I don't feel
Oh,
you-
that's true.
Are you
I forgot about this.
Are you suggesting crucifying Kuel and carrying him around like a backpack?
Not necessarily crucifying him, but tie him up some. put a nail here and there.
Mm-hmm.
That's called crucifying.
That's called crucifying.
No. No. Your
Chain just wants a
imagination is just too small.
Chain just wants the ultimate Kenku currency. Imagine the stories that would be told of the fucking living dragonborn backpack.
What a return statement.
Let's not mutilate Quell, please.
Yeah,
Besides,
he's like one guy who
What
should
are you
just chill.
talking about?
Nothing.
They want to crucify Quell.
No, Chain
they
wants to
don't.
crucify
I do
Kuel.
not want to crucify him.
You want to use the nails on him.
That doesn't mean I want to crucify him.
Okay.
There are other ways to put nails in people without crucifying them.
I come back and the very first thing I hear is imagine the stories about a dragonborn backpack. It's very confused. I'm still very confused, honestly.
Unlock the fell hyena.
The jackal is here.
I think that was the best laugh I ever heard Phil have so far.
The amount of backpack and purse jokes that have been directed my way by one fucker in particular. You know exactly who he is, Nix. Fucking Galaga. I call him Persian rug. Low quality. Alright.
Oh boy.
What an insult. Low quality Persian rug.
We do have a quote thread.
Oh,
Do we?
Toss
do?
Is that?
We do, yeah.
I don't know if that's
It's,
public
it's
to all
of
of
the
us.
archives channel.
Oh,
Oh, it's
yeah.
a thread.
Red.
Yeah. Oops.
It's fine. I'm never gonna remember to use that.
I gotta keep up.
The Reds.
Alright, it is 9:14 because my time zone is the only one that matters. We shall begin. Do any of you wish to have any further conversations before the night progresses?
I would like to have a conversation with Denton.
Go for it.
So, upon returning to the room, Leora would look around for him and immediately head over to him.
You approach Fenton. He's in his bed. He's not journaling. He's actually he's got his eyes closed. Like I kind of can't really tell if he's meditating or praying or what. But he's trying to ponder his own self, as Reed suggested. What would make a shard? What shard would he be? But there he is on his bed.
She would very gently reach out and whisper his name to him, just in case he was meditating or asleep. She did not want to disturb him, but she would, like I said, touch him and just say, Fenton, are you awake?
Yeah. Yes. Hello, Leora.
Hi, I hope I'm not disturbing you.
No, not at all. What can I do for you?
Well, I was thinking about what you were saying earlier about why we're going to Estelheim, what it all means, and things of that like. We were talking about the shards and everything that had happened tonight. It reminded me of the last time that I saw the Archseeker and what I saw when I was with her. She showed me a vision.
Yes.
It's the main reason I think that I am comfortable with all of you. probably more comfortable than I should be given how short of a time we've been together. But when I was speaking with her, she showed me a vision. I saw a mountain. It wasn't covered with snow, though. It was covered in starlight. There were so many stars in the sky. They were beautiful, but they weren't moving. And at the base of the mountain, there were several bright stars that they began to scale it. They were very bright, and I think the brighter that they were more powerful, or they held very strongly to their convictions. She said something, she muttered something, and one of the stars, it turned into it was a brilliant ball of light. And after a moment, it faded away. But in its wake, it left behind a constellation that looked an awful lot like me. She also mentioned something of a prophecy that had been lost, dying with the Vulpinal tribes whenever they split. But what we do know about it is that there is a presence of several flames, or several individuals whose flames burned brighter than the rest of them. And she told me that they'll go on a journey up the mountain. There's a spire that she didn't know the meaning of. And she sent me on my way with her staff that same night. And that night, when the stars fell, it had to be, that had to be who she was talking about, right? And it just feels like every day, more and more, just with absolute certainty that this is exactly where we're supposed to be. So I don't know how that ties in with everything, but I needed to tell you. I needed to tell, well, everyone at some point, but
Fenton smiles as you speak and kind of just nods his head, listening to this recounting. That is fascinating. It sounds perhaps a great deal similar to what Kuel shared with me. Not that he gave me details of what he saw in the Great Mysteries, but some old prophecy spinning out in the six of us. That's a scary thought. I fought against the concept of fate pulling us along quite significantly as we were leaving Ilusker. And I still can't decide if that's comforting or horrifying, but thank you for sharing that with me. That is more confirmation that it is, whether it's good or bad, reality. I think we can come to terms with that. I don't know what the end looks like, but that is interesting.
you maybe think that those in the shards, that maybe they had a similar path. And perhaps when they died, they became not only the stars, but maybe a part of them broke off and fell back down.
As in, perhaps they were attempting to do as we do now, in their own time.
Yes. I mean, I could very well be wrong. I just.
No, I think you are likely onto something. Prophecies are interesting because there are different interpretations. They are not always fulfilled. Eliana and Ido, from what I understand, had a disagreement about what they saw in the stars, and well, they weren't both right. But it seems that they do tend to come true. If not in their own time, then at another. I think your theory is a good one.
Something to keep in mind, at least. And maybe something to be able to consider whenever we more pieces to whatever puzzle we've been given.
Yes. Yes, I agree. Perhaps there is more comfort to be gained in the mere possibility that we could, I don't want to say fail, but that the world will go on perhaps if we do not continue down this path. But I intend to do so, to see where this leads us.
Likewise. Anyway, I didn't mean to disturb you, but I just had to get that out there.
Thank you, Leora. You get some rest, okay?
You too. And she would turn and go to her bed.
And the night continues on. Are there any conversations before we move on? Or?
If nobody else has any, then there's something I would like to do with Chain.
Go for it.
So, Reed, do you stay out like in the wilderness like all night, or do you come back at some point?
I will be near town by the river.
Gotcha.
I hope Leora made good on her word to tell people where I was if they needed me.
Yeah, I would have.
Gotcha. So then, after everybody else has gone to bed, Chain would be laying there in his own bed, just kind of thinking about the conversation from that morning with Koss, just kind of like on repeat in his head. Just increasing anger the more and more he thought about it. The words that were said to him about the people that he worked with in the order not caring about him, that supposedly the people that cared about him were right here, people that he knew for like days compared to the years that he's known and worked with people in the order. You know, how the people in the order, especially like Flair and Everett Hatchet, they brought him in when he was at one of his most vulnerable points, gave him food, shelter, and most importantly, they gave him a purpose. And at that, like at the time, Chain hadn't really realized like how big of a trial run that he had, how like how important his little like test mission was for him to be able to join the order. The one where he inevitably ended up running into Koss for the first time. But after going on this journey so far, the things that both he personally and the group as a whole have learned about just about everything, he like partially thought that like it was reckless to send someone so new to go to the Voltron Manor, but he also kind of gets like a little smile thinking about how that's just seemed how Reverend Hatchet seemed to work. She always seemed to have something that seemed to act like she knew something that nobody else did. But as he's thinking this over with the conversation with Koss, the revelation of another shard, he gets up out of bed. He pulls off his scarf that he wears around his neck. He takes the bandage like wrappings off of his arms and hands, showing those like the same bright blue arcane tattoos that run all the way down from like elbow onto the hand, like even like in between fingers. And then he also takes off his shirt, and on his back, on either side of his spine, along his upper back, like kind of near his shoulder blades, kind of where one would expect wings to come out for an avian. Two similar spots to his neck, where the skin is scarred. In some places unnaturally smooth, while in other places there's pockets and skin bridges from flesh melting and then healing back together, and then covered in the same blue arcane tattoos. He digs in his bag and he pulls out two objects. He pulls out the shiny, fancy golden pen that he also took from the Voltron Manor that night, and he also brings out the bladeless hilt of the training dagger that was almost like a litmus test when he was being questioned by Reverend Hatchet initially. He places both on the bed in front of him. He sits on his knees before the bed, looking at these two items, just thinking about all of the emotions and anger that were tied with the permanent markings on his body, the thoughts of these two important items in front of him that he holds as really kind of like his most valuable items, because of the significance to him in really what was like him starting a new life after running away from home. So like just all of the anger that he has from the morning's conversation with Koss, him saying that him saying that those that he really saw like a second family at this point were ones that didn't care about him and were using him, that he was naive to think that they cared at all about him. The emotions tied to the markings on his body and the pain of watching his parents' personalities change and degrade over time, the hatred for Oxylitany, who took advantage of all three of them really, and that he was still doing the same old thing in Curious to somebody else. The spite that he felt for just kind of like the Aarakocra in general and their dead god that they still praised. The one who really, if he had in at least Chain's mind overreacted and punished all of the Kanku for something that none of them did, that nothing, that he felt that his life would be very different, and just holding all of that anger within him, he's going to do something that over the last 3 years he's kind of struggled with doing, like, genuinely. Like he's done it in kind of like passing, maybe like not really meaning it, either from like a place of being nervous or scared, because he's holding on to this kind of like last connection with his parents almost through worshiping a different god. But after all the events of today and reflecting on everything, he is going to genuinely try and pray to Beldain.
Let me.
The fact that the music looped and cut out as soon as you said the name Beldane was like, was Fel prepared for this?
The silent prayer that emits throughout the air from your thoughts hangs silent for a moment, but like the hitch of your lungs before a sneeze. When you breathe in, you feel something else there, like feathers wrapping around your shoulders, throat, caressing your body, enveloping your mind. Hear a discordant shrieking, you know.
You're cutting out.
Yes! Yes! Feel that hatred curl up and twist in your black little heart, child. That thing that creeps and crawls in your mind. You understand now, don't you? That there's nobody out there but beyond yourself. The people that look at you, they don't want to see you. They want you to die. They want you to kill over, to get away, to escape from sight. To go into the blackness that you belong in. What does that make you feel? Doesn't that make you hurt?
It does.
They think
What?
nothing of you. They don't understand us. How long have you been holding on? How long have you been keeping this inside? I'm
You cut
here
out.
for you. Oh, sorry. How long have you been holding this inside? I'm here for you.
Years.
I've been waiting. I know how much you hurt. I know what they did to you. I can see it all. I can feel it all, the firebrands, the electrical shocks, the splash of acid, the sing of words. I ask of you nothing, Jane, my child. But I want you to know there's nobody else out there but me and what I represent. Because nobody else will understand everything you've been through, like another Kenku. Been through something similar. All these games they play, all these lies they tell you. Look at their faces. There's disgust in them. Remember that bird when you shot the Minotaur? He judged. Remember those nobles in that castle when they wanted to kick you out like some scum? I'm the only one that cares about you. I'm the only one who knows.
But what of the other Kenku?
Which? Your parents? They tortured you.
The
Order, they don't care about you. Look at Flair, the son of that woman, that hatchet. They sent an apprentice to his death so that her son might live. But you You, my
What?
child, are bright. You're strong. And
What?
you're beginning to see.
What do you mean sent to his death?
Who do you think Hatchet gave her orders to? Flair? He was supposed to prove himself. But he is a coward. He follows Craven. Who do you follow? Yourself. You're strong. You did it. You relied on nobody. It breaks my heart to see what you've been through. Deceived and deluded. I could only reach out to you once you accepted it into your heart. This world won't give you anything. You'll have to fight for it. And I can help. I want to help you, Chain.
Where do I start? I thought they cared.
You're recoiling, leaving. Lies, the whiplash received from them. I know how it feels. I will send someone your way soon. He is one of my agents, and he will care for you, darling. Keep this between you and I. You would understand.
You cut out again.
Oh, this between you and I. They wouldn't understand. Telling them would only hurt you and them. This our little secret, our little truths.
Yes.
I will grant you a little gift of mine. To soothe, make you see.
You cut out again.
Oh, sorry. I'll give you a little gift of mine. It will help you. It will soothe you. It will open your eyes to the world around you. Do you
What's that? You cut out again.
I don't know. My mic is in the place. Do you accept this?
I do.
Like readjusting your eyes to a suddenly dark space, there's the feeling of a brief ache in them. You have gained the Devil's Sight Warlock invocation.
Oh!
Oh,
Straight to Tura's ass with
Darkness
you.
is much clearer for you. You can see it is as clearly as if it were day, but it's still not the same. It's shaded in purple, some dark, malevolent color. Do you see?
I do.
Then
Thank you.
I must leave you be. You are welcome. I care for my flock. Everyone else has abandoned you, Chain. Come to me when you are ready.
Oh man.
I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting any of that.
I would say after that, Chain is kind of left recoiling a bit. Especially learning about Flair and that he was supposed to be the one to go on that mission. It takes Chain several minutes before he stands up. He puts his shirt on and he puts his cloak on, but he doesn't put like his wrappings or his scarf or anything like that back on, or his armor. And I'm assuming that there's a window in the room.
There is.
Chain is going to try and quietly open it and scale down the building via like whatever, like drainage pipes or like neighboring buildings.
Roll a stealth check. That's very high. You're good. Roll a dexterity check to see how easily you're able to scale down the building. It's only 2 stories. It's not.
Just dexterity or acrobatics?
Go for acrobatics.
Damn.
You're nimble.
And once Chain is out, he is going to go and try and find Reed where Leora had said that he was.
Reed, where are you?
I'm currently walking precise the edge of the burned circle down by the river at the edge of Val. Relishing in the fresh Talani air.
So yeah, go ahead. It's easy enough to find him if you'd like.
Chain is going to approach Reed. Does Reed have dark vision? I can't remember.
No.
Then it's probably not easy for him to see. But Chain's just gonna come up and not really stop to talk, but more just start walking by him further into like the wilderness and just say, "I want to kill something."
You do smell like murder. Let me see. There are many parts of myself I wish to kill. Would you stab me if I asked you?
Shane's not even going to wait for him to ask. He is just going to lunge and stab.
Okay.
Make an attack roll.
Attack roll.
Hits.
The blade strikes true.
I see your neck. I will go ahead and make my concentration check.
That succeeds.
Chain, you hear a growling behind you. You're not alone. We aren't alone.
Chain's gonna turn around and see what the growling noise is coming from.
You turn, and when you turn away from Reed, you see he's holding a new staff, something gnarled and spiked with the massive skull of the dead Flynn upon it, and almost like Foshkra's braids, the 3 flails of the morning star. And in a way that almost looks like it was torn from this new staff, you see a creature a little smaller than you, quadruped, a wolf-like creature, made of bone and flinned skull and rot, and all the worst parts of Reed separated away from him. And it will lunge and attack. Let's see, so this will be with pack tactics since you're in melee with me. It does have dark vision. So a 19 plus 6 will hit.
Yeah, that hits.
For 13 piercing damage.
Ooh, 13.
Reed will back away giggling. Kill it. Are you going to make an attack of opportunity on him?
No, I don't think Chain's going to. I think he's going to sit there and he's going to like take in like a deep breath, and he's going to mimic Reed's laugh right back at him.
Yes. It's your go.
It's your turn.
Chain is going to he's going to say, "Enough playing. I didn't come out here to kill you." And he's going to start continuing to walk off, using his bonus action to disengage from the puppy, just in case.
Both halves of Reed will stare as Chain walks off. You would not offer me to kill the worst of me with the worst of you.
Once again, Reed, you don't make any fucking sense.
After swallowing his pride for a minute and looking at the new hole, well, actually, no, it's psychic damage. That was your blades. Looking at where there should be a hole, but disappointingly there is not. We will follow this new Kenku.
Where are you headed?
Chain is just trying to find literally anything to kill. Some sort of animal, bird, deer, whatever there is.
Roll me a 1d100.
Ooh.
That's a dangerous search in Talani.
Tarask?
After some time spent walking, you can see some faint golden light. There seems to be an Arakocra dressed in the silver gold visage of the sacrosanct exorcist's armor at his side. You can see him sort of cross-legged, seated, eyes shut, seems to be murmuring something, a prayer, in front of a fire, which he gently stokes. Feast of some kind.
This is not the prey that Chain's looking for. He's going to stay hidden and continue on his way. He needs to stay alive for the moment. And that was a hard hit from Reed, so.
In
Maybe
case
another
there was
1d1.
some sort of confusion earlier, it was Reed's summoned beast that hit you.
Yes. But it
I-
belonged to Reed.
I am both flattered and disgusted.
See, another D100. Uh-oh.
Find a flock of deer flitting through the area, grazing, looking around, deer doing their nighttime chore.
Chain is going to try and sneak within 60 feet of the flock.
Give me a stealth check. Oh, easily enough. Steps are barely noticed even by you.
Chain is going to then, now with his new and improved devil sight, he is going to go ahead and throw a sonic blade at the biggest buck in the flock.
Roll me an attack roll. With advantage, since obviously you're surprising them. Go ahead and roll damage. There's the bleat of a deer that had it pierced by some psionic energy. You can see it shriek, rear back, slump to the ground, twitch, die. The others scatter immediately. Hear the flutter, or as birds fly to take to the sky. And the deer without the physical kind lies dead.
Chain doesn't even go out to try and like harvest anything or anything because he literally left everything besides the clothes that are on his back right now back at the inn. So one, being satisfied, and two, not having anything to actually do any sort of physical damage to anything. Once the deer is dead, he is just going to turn around and head back towards town.
And it's easy enough to find your way back, only you knowing what happened tonight.
Reed would have lost sight of Chain a while ago. And after considering
Good.
what it means, he would slowly make his way back as well. Probably coming in a little bit later than the fast-moving, stressed-out murder bird.
Fast moving he is.
Before Chain like settles back into bed for the night, he'll, put a scarf back on and wrap his hands and arms back up, cover himself back up.
And when Reed comes in, it's with this half undead looking skeletal plant dog creature. Now that you can see it in the light, it is made of exactly the same shapes as his staff. The spine is there, the skull, everything. Just contorted into the shape of a dog. Let me see your neck, little bird.
Why? What's the matter to you?
Your words. Why should you decide if it matters to me?
It's not your burden to bear.
My burden to bear. You want to talk about burdens with me? We no burdens. It's not you, it's not me, it's us. I spent so long hating what gnolls were, had become, would be, all a curse of an abusive god, that I should fantasize, dream, taste your meat on my tongue. Spite set me free, cost me my life, gave me another. I found the true Reed, the new Reed, only when I chose to give up life as a gnoll. That when I saw you, your neck, has someone tried to take your choice for you?
Seto. Seto.
Yes, that's a.
I am so sorry.
Seto.
I thought I was muted.
Of course someone tried to take my choice from me. You think I would do this to myself? And he would pull off his scarf, like Reed had asked, showing him the flesh scarred by acid, tattooed over in bright arcane runes.
And
We ran into one of the ones responsible, Reed, right there in Kiris, when you were too busy venting to the chained up Dragonborn about accepting change when he was trying to fix himself.
People put so much fuss into trying to be what the world paints them as. I had my choice between living as a gnoll, and I chose to die. And now I smile so much more. You will have your choice between living as a Kenku or thriving as so much more. I can understand bits and pieces. We are both scorned by the world. Good night.
Chain is going to mimic a snarl at Reed, not knowing at all what it means, but snarl nonetheless.
Roll D100.
So many D100s tonight.
He'll give you a dismissive sneer. Then he will walk to the other side of the room where he can have a full view of the room and the window and the door, and he will sit there and stare, and eventually the strange, silent dog thing at his side will kind of wither and fall into dust and wash away on the breeze. And he will sit and stare.
Jing's just gonna lie back down and try to get sleep. Don't know how successful he'll be, given the things he was told by Beldain.
Psst, hey. It only took us 3 hours.
All right.
What a session so far, huh, guys?
Another 3 hours of
Incredible.
roleplay. We only
did
had,
it.
what? 1.75 more sessions? Anyways, all right.
You put us together, Phil. You put
Yeah,
us
I
in the
did.
same room.
I did. You are my little terrarium, and you are interacting in the ways I expected you to. Everything is as planned. All right, time to get this music off.
Oh, Chain, why didn't you fight the dog? I wanted to test my new spell.
Kevin?
I wanted to test my new spell on you. How dare you stay there? How dare we run away and not stand there?
Oh,
First of all, because you said to attack whatever part of you, and so Chain took that literally. And then secondly, you took Chain down to 8 HP on one hit, so
And I'm sure you could have taken the dog down to 8 HP in one hit.
How without
Maybe.
without a sneak attack?
oh my gosh, Beldain came in here with such energy.
she really did. I was not expecting that.
Terrifying.
That's a nice
Oh my
voice.
god.
Beldane's a bitch.
Another voice
Actually,
that your
wrote
mic
that.
doesn't like, but
I know it. My mic just doesn't.
Only likes the quiet parts.
I should turn off voice suppression when I do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Should buy an actual desk, get an
um,
actual microphone,
No.
an actual
No.
headset,
No.
Absolutely not.
and a
Look,
real
if
big
you-
monitor.
Look, Fel, if you don't want your character moments to be interrupted by your voice being cut out because Discord's a bitch, then you will need to invest in proper audio setup.
I am the last person you can gaslight into. Fucking
Uh,
hell, it cut out again.
Cut out.
I don't need to
Gaslight
gaslight you.
who?
You're
It's
gonna
just
gaslight
real.
yourself.
it's not
I
gaslighting.
was-
It's just reality.
I was going to say I'm the last person. Fucking hell. Okay, all right. My mic is sentient.
Your microphone is gaslighting you.
Moving on.
So next
Oh my
session,
gosh.
Fel buys an actual microphone.
Yes, this one is.
Mhm. That one was on purpose.
No,
Oh,
I would have been happy if it continued to cut out, but it did so at the moment where it impacted my ego, and thus it has to go.
Victory!
All right.
Which one did you buy again, Shane? You should send the link to Fel.
The HyperX
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Fell D&D.
We'll
Take
all
it away.
have the same.
Yes, D&D.
Yes.
lock in, everyone.
Don't say that phrase ever again. I hate it.
Okay. All right.
It has a forbidden name in it.
Ugh.
Oh, I just realized.
Should we long rest?
Go ahead and take a long rest. I am finding bridge music.
Excellent. I get my spell slots back. Used
The
to
long rest. I didn't actually need the long rest. I didn't do shit since the last long rest.
I used a
Either.
lot of spell slots for a non-combat episode.
I get my HP back.
Yay!
Yay! Or did you not sleep enough?
What?
You were up all night. Did you? Maybe you didn't sleep enough.
That all wouldn't have taken 2 hours. More than 2 hours.
No. It takes a while to hunt down a deer.
Not when you're as good as me.
All right. The morning rises to rain. It was known to be an overcast day. Idle Goths and beholders rely on, and thus
You cut
one
off.
can be rely on sight, and one can be obscured by fog and rain. One attacks. There's a knock on the door that wakes you up. Again. Earlier, like 6:30. You can already hear the sound of preparation, and smell food. Everybody's practically packed and ready to travel and fight. But still, someone knocks.
Fenton's up. He'll open the door.
There is Hell Knight Lucas standing there. He looks a bit sheepish.
Good morning, Lucas.
Right, good morning. I just wish to check in with you. What are your plans? What are you doing? Planning on... Are you not up yet? He kind of stamps his foot.
Some of
I'll
us
get
more
to
than
it.
Gallows
others.
would lash you for this, you know? You were up 2 hours ago. But, nevertheless. Right. I have told you that I wish to confront Elara directly. I'm aware of certain Terran caves that go underneath the city of Algiz, and I believe that I can navigate them, well, since you and I took down that death kiss quite readily. I believe you will help fight, yes? Against Renara?
We are still planning to aid you, yes?
Excellent. Well, Gallows lashed me 20 times yesterday for abandoning my post. I don't know what he'll do to me after I kill Ilara, but we'll find out, I suppose. I will have to stay with Hell Knights, for a little bit at least. There is a bridge crossing that we will be going over. The bridges to Algiz have all been destroyed by the Beholder's minions, but we have our elementalists to form temporary ones in the sky that all of our troops will be crossing. Follow the one the Hell Knights are going on. There are going to be 3. Once we fight our way across it and to the city of Algiz itself, find me and I will lead you to some certain caves. And we will continue from there. It will be madness. Have any of you been in a war?
Certainly not me.
I have aided in battles on the northern border of the basin.
So you've seen some of what it can be like. You'll have to ensure that none of the rest get caught up in the grandeur of it. Are we at an agreement then? Are you ready?
Yes.
What?
I'm ready.
As am I.
What do we know about the difficulty of fighting a beholder?
Beholders themselves are quite weak. They are paranoid as a consequence of their minions. They are paranoid and as a consequence have many minions. And they tend to isolate.
You're cutting off again.
Oh my god, I'm turning off noise suppression.
Last word
You
was
hear me.
isolate before you cut off.
Let's see. I don't want to edit soundboard volume. Hang on. Is this any better?
Well,
Well,
we'll find
we
out.
will see.
We'll find out as soon as you start
We'll find
speaking full
out.
sentences.
All right, so. It will be dangerous, it will be difficult, but we will make it to the end. I believe in you.
Was the thing we fought down there a minion of the beholder?
Yes, I would say one of its generals. Death kisses are the in the
And you cut
hierarchy.
off.
I don't know why it's happening now all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's worse than normal tonight.
Ah, the joys of push to talk.
I'm not on push to talk.
Maybe you
No.
should be.
Maybe you should be.
It's okay. Let us continue. Momentum.
All right. Is this any better? I am louder. I should be. Please tell me I'm
You
not.
are definitely louder. You cut off already a couple times.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Mike, I'm so sorry about this. All right. Is this any better? Well, we'll see. We'll see. I turned noise suppression entirely. Okay. There are a few different There are mostly idle goths, but parasitic victims, primarily Terrans who were underneath Algiz, formed. There are some notable generals, 3.
And they are the same as what we fought. This death kiss.
Not the same, but in principle, yes. Very unique. They were people, after all, and retain some of their capabilities. Belash, a female lizard folk, a water mage, is the idle goth verse of water in Turisans for this specific purpose. She is not here. You have to worry about the next 2. Meyer the Mind, a tabaxi commander of the Idle Goths. He was the former guard captain of Algiz, the living and non-lizard folk portion of it, before Ilara took over. And lastly, Lazare, a mage knight, a minotaur. He commands the living troops under Ilara. If you'd wonder why any living troop would be under Ilara and fight for her, Arcanists depraved with nowhere else that everybody wants to kill, they find their town, they find their place in this madhouse.
Is the hope that these generals are all distracted enough by the attack on Algiz that will slip into the Beholder without encountering any of them?
They don't know what I'm doing. I've been
Exactly.
tracking Elara for a longer time than anyone else here, at least. I've been in the caves, the Terran caves underneath Lair. The thing about that the amount of minions she has permeated any fashion. Information gets to her. I have not been contaminated yet. But all the troops, you presume to think that every single being is pure? Every single Hell Knight, every single Exor doesn't have an eye? No. I'm the only one who knows about it.
I suppose I should have been more specific. This is your hope and your plan.
Yes. Gallows doesn't know.
I think it is a
Look.
good one.
It is her own escape route if individuals find her. And if she were to discover that we know about it, she'd close it off. Find some other way. The less people know, the better.
Agreed.
What do we know of the 2 that you believe would be here? On the off chance that we run into them telling your plan.
Meyer the Mind is tricky. He is nimble being. Wields rapier. Was good with it too. He fell to the Idle Goths and is one himself. More specifically a death kiss, but close enough. Lazare, he is wicked. He is both a fighter and a mage, and uses both too. Good capabilities. Do not think he is frail. An Eldritch Knight, he is called, trained by Lysaeum the
I don't know if you cut off or is that the end of your sentence?
What was the end of the sentence?
Something about Lyceum Draconis.
Okay, I'm going to use my computer's microphone.
Perhaps you
Yeah.
should mess less with the noise suppression and more with the a minimum volume level needed to trigger your microphone.
How would I edit that?
Let's see. User settings, voice and video. There should be an
Thrilling
option.
D&D content here. Uh,
Should be an option to manually determine input sensitivity.
I'll have to shut off automatically determine it, I'm assuming, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can kind of
All right.
speak in your own low tone and see if that works. If it needs to go higher or lower.
Can you hear me? Am I cutting out at all?
No.
Not so far.
I'm going to start out belting torment quotes and let me know if I cut off.
Uh-oh.
Endure, and enduring grow strong. I am sorry, master. Forgive me. I know not what I did.
That came through without cutting off.
All right, excellent. There we go. Let me yell at me if I cut off again.
The yelling will
I'm
commence.
Becoming a technologically advanced Ian.
Ooh. What can change the nature of a man? A
What can
context
change
menu.
the nature of a man? All right. Yes, those are the two. Mire the mind and Nazare.
I wonder how Tabaxi choose their names.
Perhaps a question for another day, Reed. This is a day to focus mind for battle. Not distracted with needless questions.
If I focus on the battle, I'm not focused on our goal. But I am prepared to fight. Do you like it? I'll show the new staff.
It looks like you ripped the head right off of your enemy.
Yes.
It is brutal.
I think this will help me avoid unnecessary conversations.
I think your smell does that enough, Reed.
Unless there's anything else, Fosher is gonna get his things together and head out.
Likewise.
All right.
I'll stop to pick up a new pan out of the kitchen before I leave.
Just keeping it, taking it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Dragonborn glares at you as you leave, but such is that.
I thought the Kenku was the magpie.
Look, I damaged my own. I need a replacement.
I will change the music then.
On the eve of this great battle.
Phil, just a flavor
Yeah.
question. Foshkra is stepping out into this light rain. Is there a slight steam?
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh.
Congrats, you have disadvantage on stealth checks.
I always have disadvantage on stealth checks. My hair jingles.
Just makes it easier for Chain to sneak on by.
Exactly. Focus on the big angry Ignin. Ignore the Kenku sneaking up behind you to stab you in the back.
The first thing you can see as you exit this tavern are dozens of these sort of spike-like missiles, aerial, being lifted on chains held by 4 large, brawny Aarakocra as they lift, physically flying them into the air, presumably to an altitude from which they will release them soon. The devils, summoned and bound by the Hell Knights, are being essentially worded around in Infernal Affinity Speak It by some of the signifers. You can see the sort of goat-like being still crucified, being carried by multiple Hell Knights. The large Minotaur-like devils slowly lumbering forwards, presumably some defensive shield. The Anubians are in rigid lockstep in the way they march. Calm, serene. The exorcists cheering, a lot more excited, jubilant, for they're killing what they are meant to kill. Lukas heads off towards the Hell Knights and ushers for you to follow and stay with them.
I will definitely wander off a short distance and start poking around the signifiers.
The signifers, yes.
Oh, what does this one do? What does that one do?
Are you finding gallows or just any random signifer?
Oh, just any random signifer.
You can see there's one sort of tall, voltinal female. Just give you a rather cutting glance and says, "The ones on crosses heal. The ones with shields shield. I would think that you are the kind of person who wouldn't mind the type of healing, what is the specific name? These are staunching devils. They stitch your wounds when you get them, but with nails, not thread.
Healing from hell. A fascinating concept.
These are the clerics on the battlefields in hell. Now, they heal through pain. The wounds pay in pain, but they are healed and allow one to fight on. The weeping devils, she points towards the larger ones, they wield their falchions so quickly that it cuts through the air in a whistle, and thus they weep. They have no eyes, they need other ways. Does that answer your questions, Noel?
I will remember to duck.
Go and let me work then.
I leave.
So now you know what weeping devils are and what the staunching devils are.
Now I know
little world.
nobody can take damage in this battle. It's just gonna get worse.
I'd say ignoring Reed running off, and after Lucas motions for everyone to follow, Foshka's gonna turn and look over at Lawrence.
This is your quest.
And just gestures for Lawrence to lead the way.
All right. I suppose he's right. Onward. Lawrence takes the lead.
Joining the
Foshka
Hell
follows.
Knights in their procession. The city of Vale grows smaller in the distance as you know this to be not a long journey. I'll go to the main map. You will fight today.
I think we're already on the main map.
Sorry?
So I think
We
we're
are on the
already on
main
the
map.
main map.
Yeah.
Oh, you're on the main map? Oh, my apologies. It's about 2-3 hours until you get to the river, and that's when things officially begin. The water flows in odd ways against the turns of this large river, because the water has flowed this way for only a short few months. It has not had time to erode. It's still odd, though. Some places are flooded, some places are empty. Almost empty. You can see breaking off from the formation of the Hell Knights are these similarly robed individuals who begin muttering, and sandy earthy embankments are pulled up along with them and carried, not unlike how one would carry balloons, but above their heads, taking with them part of the land to begin with haste metamorphing these 3 wide dirt bridges above this river. It's not single file, it's more 5 or 6 per row, unless one wants to wander very close to the edge. This is roughly what you see.
Oh, damn.
Shoot. I know where this picture's from.
You do, don't you? Aww. What do you think it means?
I think it means you have looked into other TTRPGs.
Aw, he's right. Good boy. Which bridge are you joining? Hell Knights, Exorcists, Anubians?
Hell Knights.
Anubians are boring. Exorcists would just push me off.
And, well, Lucas said to be with the Hell Knights, so...
Yeah, I guess
And
that's
you
a
can
reason
see
too.
Lucas in the ranks. He's near the back. He is an archer and thus a ranged troop. And up
We
on the
shall
bridge you go.
joy.
Sorry. It's a long bridge. About 5 minutes of pure walking. As things seem to be going smoothly. There is rain. It is slick, but not dangerous. The clouds seem to start moving a little quicker than what you would expect. You can see there are murmurs of the Hell Knights as they remark that it is unusual. And then the river begins to pull away from one edge, stop its flow, and reverse halfway under the bridge. You can see 2 distinct portions of it parting. Underneath you, there is no river anymore, as the 2 halves begin flowing in their opposite direction.
Hold on tight.
There is a brief moment of wondering what specifically is going on before you can see the edges of both sides of these trailing off rivers kind of compress, grow larger, gaining force. There is the rapid yelling of commanders that immediately say, those of you halfway, turn back. Those of you further, run.
So the question is, are we halfway or more?
Which side would you have joined? Would you have liked to have been at the front or the back?
Lawrence?
Well, I think Lorenz kind of, like, meandered a little bit in the middle, kind of like halfway between the middle and the front.
Lorenz brushing at your side, you can the leathered armor shoulder of Lukas knocks into you, and he essentially yells, "Go! We're not waiting! Go! Run!" And he dashes off forward.
Well, Lorenz will follow, running as fast as he can.
Sprint!
Is anyone in our party lagging behind?
Nope, Chain's good at running.
Nope, I'll be going.
I'm good at flying.
Ah, fuck you.
Ah, the bird.
Fenton. Most of the Aarakocra do take to the skies.
This is why I
Fluttering
played the
off
Beltane.
to the air.
If no one is lagging behind, Foshkra is going to position himself in front of Lawrence as best as he can, and try his best to just kind of like shoulder the other soldiers that are in front of them, to kind of just like open the gap and make it easier for the group to run forward.
Oh, what a gentleman.
All right. Lori, Laura, and Reed are the only ones with 30 feet movement speed. I'm assuming all of you are dashing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Are any of you doing any means of increasing that movement speed?
Yeah, Chain, he's going to have bonus action dash and action dash. So he's doing full
This-
120 feet.
There's going to be a
Correct.
group check to see how quickly you can run at an efficient speed. I'd like all of you to make Constitution saving throws. Those of you who can move above 30 feet of movement speed, do so at advantage. Fenton,
Okay.
you are flying, you don't have to.
Okay.
Constitution, not dexterity.
This is a matter of endurance.
Oh.
Oh no! Okay.
Chain your light, but 5 minutes of sprinting is tough on you. You still have mobile, and you are a rogue, so you get an exception. But I don't think there can be a player character faster than you at this moment. The two sides of this water bridge immediately begin closing in on each other at a rapid speed, so that just as you make it to the downward slope, the ground coming closer to you, you can hear with a thunderous clap both of them connecting and surging, spraying upwards. Two of the bridges collapse, one remains. You can see dozens of individuals falling, along with rubble. And that is when the swarm of these, mostly Terrans, but soldiers of all kinds, from a looming city in the distance, large castle walls bearing down, attack. The combat is immediate and intense. The Anubians begin filing into their ordered ranks. The sound of whirring and buzzing spells, explosions, crackles of lightning from the Hell Knights blasting throughout these soldiers. It is chaos in an instant. There's the sound of whirring as these torpedoes, these aerial bomb-like objects carried by these exorcists collapse and crash against clusters of enemy troops, launching a massive blast. Fenton, you are in the skies. Chain, you are a little bit further ahead, dodging and weaving. The other four of you are in a group. You can see briefly. Go ahead and give me a perception check to see if you see Lucas.
Oh boy.
All of us?
Those of you on the ground.
9. Hey!
Chain, you spot him. You can see he's taken an arrow to the side, but that doesn't stop him. He's wielding his bow and firing shots, scanning frantically for you. Shane, what are you doing?
If he's looking frantically for me, Chain will, without like letting up, shout, "Lucas, over here!"
Right, where's the rest of your group?
I don't
Did
know.
not wait for them. They should be following you.
Their speed is their problem.
Tut tut tut.
Well, find them. About this point, I'd say the rest of the group catches up. Fenton, it's easy enough to keep your eyes on the four on the ground, plus Chain. You can see you're just sort of going on the lower slope of this bridge as the Hell Knights swarm out in formation. Lucas and the rest of the group. You touch solid ground, moistened from the rain. What are you trying to engage in the fight at all, or avoid it and follow Lucas? Are you staying to watch, see how the tides are flowing, or are you simply getting out of dodge?
I think
Lawrence is not stopping to see what the hell's going on. Regardless of if anyone follows him, he's going straight to Lucas.
I already told
Yeah.
Gallows how the battle's going to go, so I don't need to stay and watch. What I will do is I will give us a bit of a leg up, and I will chant to the world and start running in a pattern and flap my staff against the ground and cast Pass Without Trace.
Flowing around the group is some ephemeral veil that you can feel obscures your movements. Enemies don't lock eyes on you. You're lost in the chaos, the tumult, the turmoil of this conflict. I would say I would like everyone to give me a stealth check using
boy,
the Pass Without Trace bonus.
I got a plus 19 to stealth now.
See how well, yes, you can avoid conflict.
Am I
That's a 21
presumably
plus
out of range
19,
of...
so that's a 40.
I'd
No,
I'd be
no,
getting a
that's
24.
30, sorry. It's a 30.
I
Not
love
a
this
40.
ambient track because of the spell sound effects in it. It's wonderful.
Oh my goodness.
Fenton!
Can't be stealthy when you're flying, stupid bird.
Fenton gets hit by 20mm anti-air flak rounds.
We're in the same boat, Fenton. We're in the same boat.
What is your armor class, Fenton?
Oh no.
A big old 14.
Big old 14. A ballista whips just by you, sort of destabilizing you in the air as it passes, sort of sending you tumbling for a second before regaining yourself mid-flight. Almost hit you. Not quite, but almost. Moving back.
Shoosh. Could have
I
had
think with that,
kebabs.
I had been pretty high up in the air trying to keep an eye on everyone at once, and with that close encounter, I will take my flight as low to the ground as possible.
Roll me a perception check to see, to glean as to how the combat is progressing, if that's in your interest at all. You can see the Nubians and the Hell Knights are faring by far the best. The Hell Knights, because of their sheer determination, and the Nubians, because this is what they do for a living. The Exorcists are having some struggles. They are mostly mercenaries. They're not as organized, and they are suffering a little bit, but there is golden light. They are still fighting. There's an overwhelming surge of these creatures, mostly Terran lizard folk. Tall, brutish, bulky warriors, wielding clubs, blunt weaponry. Armor doesn't have that much stopping power against these Terran. Lucas pulls you away and shouts above the din. Yes, we're going to flee from the Hell Knights now. Underneath one of the caves in the hills, about miles walk away from here. Come, follow me, please. And he dashes off, darts off. You can see Gallows briefly turns towards him, turn towards your group, and turn back. Seems to not disagree at all.
Well, Lorenz follows.
Indeed.
As you race through these conflicts, as you race through these battles, you can see the striking of steel against steel, cutting through flesh. All the sights of a proper warfare. Fireballs exploding, taking out a dozen troops at once. Ballistas skewering people right through the chest. What is anything you're doing to aid yourselves for the process of getting through unimpeded, rapidly, or avoiding any conflict at all? I know you have passed without trace up, but are any of you spending resources to do something else in specific?
How thick are how thick is the press?
The press?
The press of bodies. Like, is it?
It's getting worse by the second. You can still walk.
Mhm.
The formations of the Hell Knights and the Anubians make it so there is space to walk through. It's tough, but it's doable. It's not. Hasn't devolved into chaos yet, but it might.
Okay. All right. Then Foshka is going to maintain his position of just widening the gap as to let everybody else behind him
Go ahead and roll
maybe
a
move a
strength
bit
check.
either. Okay. 24.
Easily enough, you're able to aid in muscling soldiers out of the way, throwing people out of the way so your group can pass expediently, quickly. You're minding the spikes and the Hell Knights, but soon you pass the Hell Knights and you're in the Nubian territory. Anything else?
I don't think so. I think just speed.
Yeah, just absolutely booking it.
All right, Phosphor success, along with pass without trace, and Fenton's Guide of the battlefield will give you. I would like a 3d20 roll.
From who?
You had 3 successes. Anyone can do a singular roll. 1 3d20.
Do it, Lord. Do it, Lord.
Oh, yeah.
Lore's the leader. Lore's leader of this quest.
Okay, just flat 3d20. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey. Oh wait.
Great.
I saw the total and I was like,
ignorant intelligence.
I saw the total. I was like, hey, that's a pretty good roll. Oh wait, that's 3. That's out of 3d20.
Yeah.
All right. That is 2 failures. So I would. Everyone will roll me a 1d6. You suffer that amount of damage.
Oh. Damn it.
As stray arrows graze your sides, you're knocked in the back by some spike-wielding warrior. The edge of a fireball catches you, sears some of your exposed skin in this conflict of wartime. And soon you pass through the Nubian ranks, and there's essentially no conflict at this point. All of the armies are concentrated around the 3 places where the land bridges touch down to the ground, but racing over the sands of a river beach, Lukas gestures and, motions with his arm for you to continue. Another few minutes of all-out flat sprint running continues, and you're around a hill in this river bend. Thicket of trees catches your eye, and that is where Lukas gestures for you to continue. You can see him sort of push his way inside a little glade. There is an outcropping, a rocky entrance to some stone wall. You can see him glance at it, snarl as if remembering something, brush some sandy soil grains off of a rocky outcropping, knock it in a place once or twice, cast a spell, and the front entrance to some cave begins to collapse in sand, leaving a stone-wide, dark cave for you to disappear into. As soon as all of you are inside, he does the same to another panel of stone at the end, and it slides back in place.
We are in the cave.
And you're back to the caves.
We had a
Yearn
little
for the
one-day
mines.
vacation.
And a night on an almost actual bed. I'm so happy.
Almost an actual bed, yes.
Such luxury.
You people in your beds.
And that's where we'll end the session for tonight. Thank you very much.
Oh, yay!
Goodness.
What a time.
Goals accomplished. Damage taken.
Damage indeed taken. Now, it was going to go up by 1 dice for every thing you didn't do. You would have been able to get more rolls if you spent resources or something, but
If
that's
we-
how this kind of narrative event might happen at times.
Made more checks.
Yes.
I should have
Enjoyed
rolled the 2 golden die I got.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Breaking the fourth wall here.
I'm
Maybe Reed should
certain.
have wild shaped into like a rat or something and ran in between all their feet.
A rat? No, I'd wild shape into a warhorse and barrel right through.
But I was already doing that.
I know, which is why I didn't.
Anything
You
can do,
are
I can do better.
The warhorse.
You are not jumping on my shoulders into battle.
One is allowed to dream. After all, reality follows perception.
Okay, Ferb.
Okay. I'll stop the recording.